Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sicilian Corner Podcast. Brother Lou, how are you?
Doing very well today.
You know,
February, what is it, 120th, whatever it is?
Memorial Day. It feels more like Thanksgiving, for God's sakes. Jeez. I don't, to me, I don't care one way or the other. I like.
You came in after me, though. Is it sunny out yet?
It tried.
Oh, okay.
It tried. But, hey, it's going to be on and off, on and off, on and off. But at least the lake. This is the first time in about 2 or 3 years that Canopy has been full right to the brim.
Oh, I'll bet.
So that bodes well. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Hey, Lou, you still write for
Yes, I do. InsideOfBaseball.com.
InsideOfBaseball.com.
Yep.
Is that like a promo?
A what?
Is that a promo?
Yeah. You're going to charge me?
I was thinking of it.
Hey, we've been using their advertising platform to advertise the Sicilian Corner, so don't take it easy on InsideOfBaseball.com.
So you write for them. So you understand how the problems you can have when you're trying to write. Trying to keep it interesting, trying to keep it in the light.
Yep.
And I got a call from my significant other, Barbara Cody, and she says to me, in the Eagle Tribune, there's an article. This guy writes an article every 3-4 weeks, and I love the way he writes, his sense of humor. She says, you need to get him on the radio show. I says, really? I says, let me take a look at what he does. And I says, I'll give it some thought. And sure enough, he got me hooked. Yeah. I love his mannerism. I don't know him, but I feel like I've known him for years, to be honest with you.
Welcome him in. Hi, Scott.
Yeah. And I just want to welcome on board Scott Kerman. Scott, once again, we're on the Sicilian Corner Podcast. We've been doing this show for 25 years. We don't take it very seriously. We have fun with it. And, something, that's the way we operate, and it's good. And again, I love your mannerisms. I love the way you write. And I think a lot of people, and that's why I asked you to come on. Scott, you spent some time in the Merrimack Valley area growing up. Where were you?
Sure, I grew up in Methuen, so that's where your studios are, right?
Methuen,
yeah. Were you on Merrimack Street?
Yes.
Yeah, near the golf course, right?
Yeah, by Railway. Yeah,
about 150 yards away.
Believe it or not.
Oh, wow, exactly. So 9-iron for you, Mike?
Believe it or not, we're right across the street from the Sons of Italy.
Yeah. Go figure.
Oh, all right, absolutely. Well, yeah, I grew up in Methuen. Went to Methuen High, went to Marsh Elementary School. Graduated in 1983. I'm a family of 6 kids, guys.
Oh, boy.
Girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. I'm the middle child.
That explains a lot.
So I'm the fourth. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm the fourth of 6 kids. In fact, my wife, Adrian, is also the fourth of 6 kids. Are either of you guys middle children?
I'm sorry?
Are either of you middle children?
No, but we did a show a long time ago back with the former co-host Tom Zappler, and we're all different places in the birth order. I'm the last. Mikey, you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest.
And Tommy was the middle.
Wow.
That explained a lot of things about Tommy too, by the way.
Yeah. So being a middle child, a lot of people are going to hear that I'm a middle child and turn off your show, not to give me any further attention.
They won't do that. We got great listeners. We really do.
But yeah, so grew up in Methuen, obviously great memories of Methuen, and, writing for the Tribune the last 4 years. So the column used to be every week. And now, because I was writing this book with Governor Dukakis, we made it every 2 weeks. But yeah, it's called The World According to Scott, and the reaction has been great. And I have to tell you, boys, never have I been trolled once by anyone who's written me back. So that's what I'm most proud of in this kind of environment.
Nice.
Wow, that's great. Before we get into the Duke, which is your new book, As a matter of fact, I ordered it. I've got one coming, so I'm looking forward to reading. I liked him. I liked him an awful lot, and that's what got my attention about that book. You've also authored some other books. Probably, what, 6?
6 books. The 3 World According to Scott books, which is the compilation each year of the Tribune pieces.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a compilation of those. And the book that was the most successful, I wrote a book in the 90s called No Ticket, No Problem: How to Sneak into Sporting Events and Concerts. And that sold over half a million copies.
Yeah.
So
how many?
Wow.
Over 500,000 copies. In fact, for 2 years, Amazon had just gotten started with books. That was the #1 comedy book for 2 years on Amazon. That was a crazy time, but that when I was young. But the Dukakis book, it actually starts when I was 11 years old. My parents were having a fundraiser for him in our backyard, an ice cream smorgasbord, guys. Say that 3 times, quickly, and
You're in
you'll
trouble.
have to be happy, right?
Yeah.
So I met him over some ice cream in my backyard at 11. We became friends when I moved to Brookline about 20 years ago, close friends. And 4 years ago, I have a show, the Grandstanders show. It's now a podcast. Used to be on Dirty Water TV on Nesson. And he used to appear on our sports show each year, at least once a year. And 4 years ago, we decided to write a book together. And it's called The Duke: Weekly Conversations with the Last Honest Politician, a Political Giant, and a Comedian Walk into a Kitchen. So
that covers it.
That covers
it all.
That covers it. You got to do this now, Mike. You got to spell this stuff out for people now.
No.
You can't assume anybody can figure out anything. So, but the books, look, getting great reaction. Just came out last week, and it's a great response.
Congratulations, Scott. Really,
well, thank you. Yeah, he's a remarkable guy, the governor. I'm
on your team with that. I know. He did some. He made a couple of bad moves, and I think people are aware of it. And we had it actually affect us here in Lawrence, the Willie Horton story, and when he killed that young man, Joey Fournier, stuffed him in a barrel and left them to bleed out. I mean, in my opinion, the guy should never see daylight again, in my opinion. And
no question.
I think everybody who followed Governor Dukakis was somewhat taken back a little bit when he was pushing for the furloughs. And I think in his presidential campaign, that hurt him tremendously. I believe that.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, when we go over the top 3 things that hurt him in the presidential campaign. Now, you have to understand, he came out of the Democratic National Convention 17 points ahead, which, I mean, that's equivalent to the Celtics being up by 20 in the 4th quarter against the Knicks. Oh, wait, hold on.
Turned out
hey,
2 games in a row. Oh, hold on. But it's equivalent to that.
A little too early, Scott. It's a little too early. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right. The wounds are still. You're right. I understand them. Okay, but so he had a big lead, and so there were 3 things, if you remember, that happened in that during that period of time of the convention to the election. The Willie Horton thing was first of all, the Willie Horton thing. Lee Atwater, the campaign manager for Bush, does this incredibly racist ad, a vile ad. Talking about Willie Horton, and look, that doesn't go well. It doesn't go well for Dukakis. Yes, absolutely. Willie Horton was sentenced to life in prison without parole, and he gave him a weekend furlough program. What do you think? He's going to show back up in prison?
Yeah,
he's not going to. He goes to Maryland. He and rapes a woman, and he armed.
It was awful. It was awful.
Armed robbery. Yeah, a failure. If I remember correctly, you guys. But the Eagle Tribune, didn't they not win a Pulitzer
Absolutely.
Going over a lengthy,
It was
report,
an expose.
expose over a period of time on the furlough program.
Yeah.
And the failures of it.
Did you get into Mike's thought process about that and how
You
he
know,
arrived at that decision?
Yeah, again, it wasn't that type. It's a great question. It wasn't that type of book. I wasn't. It wasn't going to be a deep political book.
Okay.
He's, the years is between 87 and 91 that we've done this book. I wasn't going to press him hard on that because it's just not that type of,
Right.
I didn't want to do that. That's
Fair
what,
enough, yep.
But so he said, yes, it was a mistake, but he would say that every state in the country had a furlough program, including Reagan and California. So if you're going to have that type of program, you're going to have problems when you let guys who committed crimes out in the public. You're going to have those problems when they get released from prison after they finish their sentence. You're going to have problems like that. You can't avoid it. But yes, it was a problem.
Let's go back to the basic, because this is where we probably should have started. What is the book? Describe what the book is, because it's not necessarily a biopic, or it's not necessarily a history retelling of his presidential run. What characterize the book for me? What is it?
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's his words and my words. I didn't want to make it right exactly. I said, if you want a biography, there's 13 pages of Wikipedia that you can get your fix on. Go crazy. I wanted to. We cover a lot about the presidential election, but I wanted to cover a lot about his life, and I also wanted people to get to know the guy I know, the guy who picks up litter, to clean the streets, the man who is with his wife in terrible weather, waiting to take the bus to an appointment. Do you know what I mean? This guy could have been president of the United States, but he's you and I. He is an everyday man. And it's pretty remarkable that a person who is one of the most famous politicians in the last 50 years is like you and I. Guys, his number until recently was in the phone book. You could literally have, he could have been part of like the Chamber of Commerce for Massachusetts. In the morning, go see the Freedom Trail, visit Faneuil Hall, go to Fenway Park, and in the afternoon, give Michael Dukakis a call and go over his house. I mean, that is the kind of person he is. And so to answer your question, I try to get that out in an entertaining way. Okay. You have to, and as a comedian, I, incorporated lots of humor to make a story interesting for you and entertaining for you to read.
That's important, sure.
People are comparing it to Tuesdays with Morrie, and to be honest with you, Tuesdays with Morrie was a very depressing story. This is very upbeat about a very decent man. And again, like any kind of book, you have to read it, to really get a sense of it. Yeah. Some interesting stuff. But I don't want to get too depressed. His only brother, his older brother, died. Got hit by a car while riding a bicycle. In 1973, was left in a ditch to die. Actually, a street over from where I live.
Really?
Never regained consciousness. Died 4 months later in the hospital. His only sibling. Yeah. Shaped his life forever. Next year, he became governor of Massachusetts.
Now he served 2 terms, correct?
3 terms. He's the longest. Yes, yeah. He's the only governor who has served 3 terms. And remember, Massachusetts was in real
dire
straits. As corrupt as you could believe. I mean,
no, Louis. Which
Massachusetts? No.
Are you serious? Everybody had a cousin. Everybody had an aunt.
Exactly, and they got jobs there, and then they didn't show up. The no-show jobs were unbelievable in there. It had to be cleaned up, and of course, remember, he ran for president on the Massachusetts Miracle. So
something. I don't remember much about that, but I know that was his last term, correct?
Yeah. Well, yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
And he ran on that Massachusetts Miracle, and it's when the Route 128 exploded. Businesses were just going crazy. Financially, Massachusetts just did a complete flip, and he used that in his campaign. the first year he was governor, like you said, things were really desperate. I mean, Massachusetts was really in a hole, and it took a lot. And he made some promises about he wasn't going to raise taxes. He was going to balance the budget, like most politicians do, and he did neither. And
like most politicians do.
You know something, he gave it his best shot. He gave it his best shot. But I liked listening to him. I believed him. And I can't say that about many politicians, Scott, to be honest with you. But I have to tell you, here in the Lawrence Lowell area, he created such enthusiasm for someone who was into politics like you couldn't believe. At that time, I was working for the DeMoulis family, which is now, Market Basket. And my boss would come in, and let me tell you, he bled Mike Dukakis. I mean, Mike Dukakis could do no wrong in his eyes. He used to get excited just talking to him. The guy'd have a gleam in his eye, going to be the next president and this, that, and the other thing. And truthfully, I'll be honest with you, the year he ran for the for presidential nominee, and when he did run, he pulled 45%, Lou, of the population and in votes. He got 45% of that's pretty gosh darn good. Man, I thought that impressed me. And he came very, very close to beating George Bush Sr. But
look, that whole Greek connection, he's very, very, Mike, very proud of the Greek connection to this day. And obviously, Demul is Greek, and and you have to have great respect for a man who understands where he's come from, and he has, he's never wavered from that. He's never changed. He's never, he's as humble. No, you probably don't even know this, but South Station in 2014 was renamed for Michael Dukakis.
I did not know that.
It's the Michael Dukakis Transportation Center. Now,
I didn't know that. No.
At the ceremony, he gets up there. Everybody's so excited for him and says, "This is how humble he is." He says, "Thank you for the honor, but no one will ever call it this. They'll just keep on calling it South Station."
Yep.
Right on.
And damn if he wasn't right. Nobody to this day you didn't even know it. And even the greatest Dukakis, junkies of all time don't even know what I just told you.
No,
so let me ask you, Scott, the way you describe him, and I had a chance to meet him on a few occasions because I've been working in local radio here for a long, long time, 100 years. And he struck me as a very unassuming man, which is the way you describe him. So what was the linchpin? What was the point where he decided, hey, I'm going to run for governor, and then again, I'm going to run for president? Because that doesn't fit the Michael Dukakis that I know. Is a very unassuming guy. He's a very everyday type of man.
Well, it's a very interesting story. So he goes to Harvard Law School, guys. And so I asked him, so what did what you think of Harvard Law School? He goes, so-so. I said, oh, so-so, okay. He's one of the notable alumni. Okay, so-so. I go, well, what did you not like about Harvard Law School? He goes, the law. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. He said that he only went to law school because they didn't have a public policy major in undergrad back in the day. Mm. So he went there because that was just the natural, place to go after the undergrad. But he said he didn't enjoy Harvard Law School. So the answer to your question is, but he wanted to get into politics. So became a state rep, state senator from Brookline. And then the natural progression for him was to run for governor. The thing about this guy is, and I'm sure you've met these politicians before, is he one-on-one, he's incredible. One-on-one, he's one of the best politicians I've ever met. Yeah. But when he gets on stage, he can be very stiff. And I described him as stoic. And did he get angry about that? Stoic? I'm Greek. How can there's no Greeks that are stoic? What are you talking about? I'm like, actually, the word is Greek. He's like, hey, why don't you leave? But so yeah, and it's funny because I go over to look, Governor, you had the best position that you dreamed of, being governor. You have a beautiful family. You live in the town that you grew up in. People adore you. "Why did you run for president?" He said, "Scott, sometimes there's just bigger things to do." And that's simply enough.
That covers it.
Yeah, he just thought he wanted to do that. He just felt like he had done enough in Massachusetts, and he wanted to take it to the big stage. Do you think he was ready to do it, guys?
No.
But
who
I don't know. Like I said, when the negatives started popping up, it kind of scared me a little bit, like this furlough program that he wanted to embrace in the worst way. I mean, Jeepers Creepers, it's like those people that, that lady that got raped when Horton was out on furlough and everything else that he did. I mean, Jeepers, I would have been so soured about that program. I don't get it, especially a killer. You let a killer out for a weekend pass. Where's he going? Salisbury Beach?
I think it's like being a parent, Scott. You're not ready until it happens. The first time you run for president, for example, who can be ready for that?
Yeah, absolutely. And he faced stiff competition. Al Gore, Joe Biden, Jesse Jackson, Paul Simon. These, there was, he had a test, and he obviously passed the test. And to get the nomination, some of these guys don't have. Those are big names, to have faced. So he passed that test. He does mention, and that he thought that obviously George, H.W. Bush was much stronger in foreign relations and foreign, and
everybody knew, that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Hey,
so
Scott, I don't want you to lose your train of thought, but I need to take a break. Can you hang with us?
Of course, absolutely.
You're not going anywhere?
No. I may go to the men's room, but other than that, that's
it. You know something? I'll give you a pass. You got a hall pass. Go.
All right, thank
we'll
you.
be right back, everybody. We're going to be talking to Scott.
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao!
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
When you dine at Ristorante Melisse in Amesbury, Massachusetts, you feel at home while enjoying an authentic Italian dining experience not to be forgotten. From the appetizer to dessert, you won't regret your choice. Bring your cravings and appetites. They promise you won't leave hungry or without leftovers for the next day. Takeout and catering are also available. Give them a call or visit them online for the menu, online ordering, and reservations. RistoranteMelisse.com. That's RistoranteMolise.com or call 978-388-4844. Ristorante Melisse, where you're treated like family. Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas, with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Catadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Catadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's, honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy.
And Mike Kunstler,
Owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Drake, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
He is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery, tender, lazy man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
And we are back with Scott Kerman. Scott's got a brand new book that just came out. And yours truly, there it is. Yeah, the Duke. And I'll be honest with you, I voted for the man, to be honest with you, because I'm not much into politics, and I believed this guy. I really did. He seemed like an honest to goodness, down to earth man, like you said, how simple a life he led and how easy it was to reach out to him. I'd like you to tell our listeners, our Sicilian Corner listeners, if they're interested in the book, how can they go about ordering it?
Yeah, so it's called, again, The Duke Weekly Conversations with the Last Honest Politician, a political giant and a comedian walk into a kitchen. Go to Amazon. Simply enough, Amazon, you can order it easily. Amazon, paperback is $24.99, and Kindle is $9.99. So you can, of course, it's the long Memorial Day weekend, so you can get started and read it this weekend or order it. And again, you could just go to any local bookstore and say, I'd like to order the Duke, and they'll order it for you also. It came out May 9th, and already sales have been very brisk. We're going to be going on a book tour across the country in the next few months.
Really?
Yeah, so very excited. And look, again, in this political climate, it's funny because, guys, I interviewed Jay Leno last year, and Jay Leno, of all, of course, Andover. And I said, "Do you still do political jokes?" He goes, "No, I stay away from them. I don't do anything political anymore." And it's funny, when people want to get into political conversations with me, I immediately say, "No habla inglés." I don't want to touch it. But this is a book, so I didn't want to get too political with this book. But again, this guy, as far as pure honesty, as far as caring about people, pretty remarkable, especially when you talk about the Lawrence area. This guy spoke Spanish during his DNC, Democratic National Convention speech. Part of it he did in Spanish. That was 1988, fellas. That's pretty
Wow.
cutting edge if you think about it. If you had had a guy like him become president in '88, how that would have changed the Spanish community in this country forever, forever.
Oh,
You know, right? Can you
big
feel it?
big time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you think about the things that we missed out on because this guy didn't become president. And again, that's what kind of the book. We talk about that book also, but we talk about three when we talk about the presidential campaign. We talk about three things. What you talked about with Willie Horton. We talk about the tank, and the tank photo, which was a complete and utter disaster. Just to give your listeners just a little reminder course, so they decide that he wants to look like he could be the commander in chief. So on September 13th, 1988, they go to some empty field in Michigan, and he goes in a tank with a helmet that's about 5 sizes too big for him. He's got a shit ass grin on his face, and he starts riding around in the tank like it's some kind of military fantasy camp. And look, it was a disaster. It was literally a disaster from the get-go. But think about it, fellas. They did that. The Dukakis campaign is the one who coordinated this.
This campaign manager left a lot to be desired.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. All of them did. Yeah. There you go. That's
the picture of the tank. Yeah.
And that's an unfortunate photo that is, and I'm sure you've seen it as a meme many, many times over the last few years. And in fact, Trump used it as a meme a number of years ago. Yeah. So I asked him about that, and I said, "Do people still mention that to you?" He goes, "Not as much as they used to." So, but the interesting thing is, so he, just to show you where his mindset was, because he's a funny guy, and I hope this comes out in the book. He had done a photo, I don't know if you remember this photo, where he's in a full Celtics warm-up suit. He's standing on a chair, and the big three back in the 80s, Larry Bird, McHale, and Parrish, are standing next to him, and McHale has a basketball over his head. It's a really fun photo, a lighthearted photo. Look, I mean, to show you how small he is, he's literally standing on a chair. And if you see the photo and you understand that this guy has a sense of humor, and maybe that's what he thought about when he did this. So when we talked about the whole tank, I said, well, I have a solution. What you should have done, you should have had Larry Bird standing right next to you in the tank photo. And he says, that would have been a better idea.
Absolutely. When you were interviewing him, the other issue besides the furlough program and maybe that tank picture was a big negative, the Pledge of Allegiance issue. Did you get into that with him?
I did not. No,
okay.
I did not. The third issue when it came to the campaign, which was the debate question.
Okay.
When Bernard Shaw, which was a total setup, fellas. So I don't know if you recall this. The second debate, Bernard Shaw was the CNN anchor, was the moderator. He gets on. He goes, "I want to welcome you all to Los Angeles. This is a debate between Bush and Dukakis. The rules are there are no rules. We can ask any questions we want. We didn't, check with the campaigns before we did it. First question, Governor Dukakis. Now let me mention, this is the first question. 30 seconds into the debate, his wife Kitty is sitting in the front row. If you remember this question, Governor, if your wife Kitty was raped and murdered,
I do remember it.
Would you still believe in an irrevocable death? Would you not believe in the death penalty? Can you believe that question? He's he's damned if he do, damned if he don't, right?
You're caught. Yeah.
He's caught. He had practiced the debate, the question about the death penalty, but not that question. So if he answers like he answered, no, I believe in the death I'm against the death penalty. He's going to look insensitive to his wife in the front row, right? All the women in the audience are going to be like, I'm done. I'm not voting for him. If he says, well, of course, if this had to do with my own family, then of course, I would be for the death penalty. If he says that, then he's waffling.
He's cooked. Yeah.
He's cooked. So he was done. That was a setup. That's a setup question. First, think about it. Nobody even got a lather in that debate, and he's asking that question.
Wow. Scott, you got a few people that are saying hello out there. Andy Parisi, Nancy Patera DeMarco is saying hello. Barbara Cody is saying hello. Andy Parisi saying hello. So you got some people out there that are watching you. And
Barbara got your book for the show. So.
I'm sorry?
Barbara got him booked for the show, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I hope I get great reaction with the column too. I tell you something.
The columns are beautiful, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Yeah. And it's just such a pleasure. I put my email address at the end of each column, and such lovely people.
That's how I was able to reach out to you.
Yeah, such lovely people who have, and a lot of the same people each week will react to the column and stuff, and but just so much fun, and to be able to do that in my hometown area means everything to me, and of course I speak in our Merrimack Valley language. I mean, that's how I write, is who I am. I mean, you took that boy out of Methuen, but I am a Methuen guy. I mean,
but you're also a stand-up comedian, which really helps you, and in my opinion, Lou, I don't think there's a harder job than being a stand-up comedian.
No,
I really don't.
Brutal. It's absolutely brutal. It's great.
Yeah.
And that helps you a lot in what you write.
Put me in front of 1,000 people with just a mic for an hour and a half. It's like, are you kidding me?
Especially when you start off with your best stuff and you get no reaction. You're dead.
Yeah. I used to have two acts, fellas: the domestics and the imports. So if the people were drinking domestics, I would take out a little raunchier act.
Yeah.
The imports, a little smarter act. That's literally how you have to do it. But once you got to my level, and HBO Aspen Comedy Festival, a lot of things, you're doing your act, and you are literally thinking, geez, what am I going to get for dinner? I'm really hungry. You don't even think about it after a while. You just go up there and you just do it, because if you're doing it.
Let me ask you, we can get to the stand-up part, but I want to ask about your column, because we started with your column, and I've read your column, and you have this gift that I admire in people, is that you have comedic timing in print, which is so hard. And I don't know if it's a skill you can learn. I think it's something you have or you don't have. I always love writers who have good comedic timing in print.
Yeah, but that's a great point, Luke, because you're not getting any reaction.
Right.
Normally, you go up there, you say, straight line, punchline, wait for it's like music. Right. And then they laugh. When you do that, maybe I'll show my wife, and sometimes she'll laugh. But you know how wives are, depending on how the day is going, whether you're going to get a laugh or not. And and then you kind of wait, and then you wait to get an email or two or three or four or five to get that reaction. But it's a great point. It's hard to write comedy, the written word.
I'm sure it is.
But you're entertained, but you don't know if anybody else is going to get it.
Yeah.
But it's funny because George Wendt, God rest his soul, died obviously the last few days, and you got a shout out to him, one of the great characters in Norm and Cheers. I learned so much growing up watching Cheers, because Cheers, and not to get into too much in-depth comedy, Cheers taught me how to write comedy, because not just one joke, 2-3 jokes in a line. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's what I feel like writing. You can't just do one joke. when you're writing. You better do 2 or 3 in a sentence.
In a row.
And in a sitcom, like especially a quality one like Cheers, it's nothing's wasted. It's set up punchline, set up punchline, set up punchline.
Bang, 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 bang. And, obviously, established characters and stuff. So you just learned that from that. What were some of your favorite comedians over your lifetime? Name some that you've enjoyed.
Right now, Bill Burr.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's incredible. Yeah.
Just kill it. But and that's where the comedic timing really shows. The best comedians and the best comedic writing, it just comes to them. Bill Burr is not doing comedic timing up there. He's just being Bill Burr.
Yeah.
And it just happens that way.
Yeah.
It's natural to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you, but years ago, what were some of your favorite comedians?
Oh, of course, Colin, and of course, Colin and
Red Fox.
Well, it's a little bit.
Oh, did you ever see Red Fox?
Yeah.
Did you ever see him live?
I did. I saw him twice in Vegas, and the last time he did a segment on Fug soap.
Okay.
Fugg soap.
Okay.
Let me tell you, I died. I had a pain in my side. I was laughing so hard. This guy was he owned that audience, and it was a big audience, and he just owned it. And there was one right after another, bang, bang, like you said, Scott, bang, 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 hit you over the head. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. And this segment was called Fug Soap, and he owned it. He owned it. Scott, I'm up against a break. This is our last break, and then we'll be breaking. Then we'll be back till noontime, and we'll bid adieu. A couple of things I want to talk to you about is some of the stories you put in the Tribune that I love. The crank calls I can relate to, and we're going to talk about that when we get back.
Okay.
So let's take a break.
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao!
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
Sisters and co-owners Antoinetta and Elisa brought their family authentic Italian recipes from Molise, Italy, and a warm and welcoming dining experience to its customers at Ristorante Molise. The combination of their meals made from natural, homemade, fresh ingredients, and your time with family and friends together at dinner time is unmatched. Located in Market Square in the heart of Amesbury, they're open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday from 3 to 9 p.m. and are available for private parties during off hours. For reservations, call them at 978-388-4844. That's 978-388-4844. Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Catadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Catadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy,
And Mike Kunstler.
owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Drake, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
he is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery tender lazy man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
Welcome back, everybody. Our guest today is Scott Kerman. Scott writes for the Tribune. You'll see articles in the Tribune every once in a while, probably every 4 or 5 weeks. Scott, how often do you send in a...
Every 2 weeks now. It used to be weekly for the first couple of years, but I'll get back into the weekly after done promoting the Duke book. So, but every 2 weeks right now, every other Friday.
You did a story recently about nicknames, and I could relate to that. A lot of that from experience, your experiences growing up, and.
Oh yeah. Wait, Do you get to swear? Do we get to swear on this podcast or no? How does that work?
Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
No.
No problem. We're good.
Well, yeah, like you say that you're growing up, everybody used to have at least a couple of nicknames, right? Growing up, but I always say, but if you're an asshole, you only have one nickname.
What was that?
Asshole.
Asshole.
Give me a drum roll.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I got all day, Mike. I'll wait for that roll, that laugh. That's what in comedy. That's what you got to do. Sometimes you just got to let that fester and kind of grow. You got to you're like okay, but
like a bottle of wine. You're waiting for it to.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
You have to age. You have to have them figure it out.
In the Italian neighborhoods back in the 50s, 60s, you probably had maybe 10 or 12 guys that grew up on Common Street, Newbury Street, Jackson Street, and they all had the name Tony. So the only way you could really define, you would give each one a different nickname. If you had one guy that was a real big man and weighed 350 pounds, his nickname was going to be Tiny, guaranteed.
Right. Yep.
There was no questions about it,
Right.
But that was the way you wrote it. I was laughing because I could relate to so much of it,
And if you're Irish, if a group of 3, there's going to be somebody named Fitzy. Has to be someone named Fitzy, always, right?
Sully, there's always a Sully.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But you talked about the Stop Crane Calling Me was actually the last week's article, the last Friday's article. And I tell you something.
I cut it out and I have it.
Yeah, that got an incredible reaction. It's very funny. Fellas, you never know what's going to hit. Sometimes you write a piece and you think, God, that's funny, and you don't get as many emails, and then some just go crazy. That was
crazy. Scott, would you be familiar with 2 gentlemen that they actually went on to make a movie? They're called the Jerky Boys.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, they hit hard.
Oh my God, they were a class of 1. Let me tell you, they were right. They would call up people, Lou, and I mean the language sometimes was a little bit crazy, but what they would come out with would be just hilarious. Scott, I think you can appreciate this. My wife passed away a few years ago, and her name is Lucille. And one Sunday I said to her, I says, let's take a ride into Boston. And she says, oh, good. So got in the car, drove into Boston. We used to go in an awful lot. And I headed toward Copley Place. You remember Copley Place when it was just opened up? It was the place.
Yeah, right.
So right away, she's thinking she's going shopping, right? So I keep walking. She says, why are you walking so fast? I says, the show's going to start in about 10 minutes. I want to make sure I'm there for the beginning. Well, the Jerky Boys come out with a movie.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I never told her where we were going. And creepers. She says, why are we going to the theater? I says, we're going to see the Jerky. I'm not going in there to see the Jerky Boy. I mean, she got so pissed off. It was unbelievable. I loved every second of it. But those guys together, they were a freaking hoot. But something we did, Louis, as kids growing up, I had a friend of mine. His name was Norman. Norman lived in South Lawrence. And directly across the street from him, there were 2 corners. Directly across the street from him was a young lady by the name of Trudy. Well, Norman really had the hearts for Trudy in the worst way. Mm-hmm. We're in grammar school.
Yep.
And he would do anything to get attention. He used to think he was Elvis Presley. He'd be outside in his porch, strumming a guitar, trying to play. I mean, he'd do anything to get her attention. But the one thing we used to do as kids, and you mentioned in your article on in the newspaper about calling the drugstores, asking if they had Prince Albert in a can. Well, we took it just a wee bit farther. Back in the middle 50s, the city of Lawrence had a lot of cab companies. There were probably 7, 8 cab companies. And we would get on the phone and we would call a cab company, whether it be Holt's Taxi, Union Taxi, and say, could you please send the taxi to so-and-so address, which happened to be Trudy's.
Yeah.
Now, there were 2 streets that came to her house. We'd be sitting in Norman's living room looking out, and all of a sudden, one taxi would pull up, toot the horn. Another taxi would come the opposite street, toot the horn. We'd have like 3, 4 taxis backed up in front of their house waiting for her. I mean, and to us, we were dying laughing. We thought that was the greatest thing since sliced American cheese. So I think, that pertains to your article, which I found extremely, extremely funny. And
we only had 3 TV channels, guys. We had to do something to entertain ourselves.
Something, that's it. That's exactly it. Barbara Cody is saying, Scott, you are a breath of fresh air. Now,
thank you very much,
am I in trouble with her now? Are you taking my place? I mean, what's the story here? I agree with you, Barbara. I hope someday when your schedule allows it, you can come in and sit with Lou and I. And
that would be fun. I'd appreciate. Yeah, I'd love that.
Being in the studio, because you do a show, it's a total different.
Oh yeah.
Program. You can look at each other, you can break each other up, and something, have fun. And there's not enough fun in this world. There really isn't.
And then I'm going to head, after I'm going to see you guys, I'm going to head to Tripoli's. I'm going to get my S cookies. Then I'm going to go to Man Orchard and go get my apple pies.
Oh,
And then we
Billy
go to,
Man, yeah.
and then we're going to Market Basket because it's Market Basket. So there
Yeah,
you go.
you have to. It's a have-to thing. It's
Scott,
a
you have
have-to
to get
thing.
the apple cream pie. You have to get the
Yeah.
apple.
They don't make it. They don't make the apple cream all year, though.
They don't?
No, I don't think so.
What's wrong with them? Talk to Bill, will you?
I'm almost. Well, I'm sure we can have one made next time we have him in the studio.
Yeah.
We'll put a request in.
Yeah.
We'll put a request in. But
Don't talk to Matt. I don't know. If he's
I
likely.
hope your book does very well.
Well,
for you.
thank you. Yeah, let me
I
just, can I
know.
show pictures of it? Yeah, so this is the
Yeah,
Duke book.
yeah.
This is the Duke book again. All this is on Amazon, and then it's World According to Scott is a 3-book series. So this is the original World According to Scott, World According to Scott, the sequel right there, and then World According to Scott, the 3rd book. So just go on Amazon, put in Scott Kerman, and they'll take you there. And look, I think they're great reads. I think they're entertaining, and obviously got a great reaction from all 4 books.
And Dukakis was well liked by an awful lot of people, either in New Hampshire, Massachusetts. I mean, he came across as an honest dude, and that's how like I said, I voted for him. I'm not much into politics, and I love George Bush Sr. Dukakis for some reason hit a nerve with me, and I could relate to what he was saying.
All right,
But-
Scott, that was a bit of a departure for you from a book standpoint. Would you do that again? Would you do another?
Yeah, I
conversation?
would do that again. Absolutely. Yeah, I like doing I like kind of doing, like, I don't know, the new genre, not a biography, because you got Wikipedia, but I would like to do it with someone else, maybe either a famous musician or actor. I'd like to do a similar type of book. I really enjoyed writing these and getting to know somebody who is well known, and trying to give you what the person is really like.
Okay, so let me put you on the spot here, and it's on the spot. But if you had a wild card and you could pick any musician to do this book with, who would it be?
James Taylor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would love to. Again, I'm a Massachusetts guy, and so I think James Taylor is remarkable. The guy has an incredible backstory, and just, I mean, this is a guy who hung out with the Beatles. I mean, I mean, you start from there and come on. And I would love, and I'm trying to see if we can connect, because I would love to do this type of book with James Taylor.
I wonder what kind of a book would come out if you did a story like with Sal Erna. Local kid did extremely well, Godsmack. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's
not on a James Taylor scale, but yeah.
Yeah, again, this book took place us sitting in the kitchen table, and I felt like that was the perfect setting for something like this. And the reaction's has just been incredible, and I'm glad, and I'm glad I paid him justice. And again, it's his words and my words. The end. That's the book.
We're this month is mental health month, and there were a lot of rumors about Mike Dukakis having some issues. Did you notice any of that?
Well, the thing is that, and I mentioned in the book, and he mentions it again. It's his words. His brother had been, he had mental illness, and he had been committed at one point. So yes, of course, Kitty, who just passed away in March, well known to have had mental illness, and I don't think he never, obviously he's very emotional about his brother's death, and I asked him if he had seen seek counseling, and he said no, he had not. Of course they try to bring that up in the campaign about his brother and all, but there's no this guy is just remarkable. And
you had a good time with him, didn't you?
I have a great, I still see him every week. I'm actually going to go see Michael Stanley Dukakis at 3:00. I'll be going over to his house.
No way.
He's my buddy. Yeah, it's a 15-minute walk. Yeah,
I know you're close. Yeah,
we see each other every week.
Right?
Yeah, we see each other every week. We're just it went so past him being famous and the governor and stuff to now he's my buddy. We're friends, and we have just great time laughing. And he's 91. He's hanging in there health wise. He's obviously very upset about Kitty's passing. the pleasure was all mine, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's great to hear. It really is.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I think your book is going to do very, very, very well.
Great.
It's going to be extremely strong in the New England, Massachusetts area, especially Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But it got my curiosity right away because I liked the man. I did, and I think he was honest. Lloyd, what'd you think of him?
I like Mike Dukakis. I'm not fully aligned with his philosophies, like I am not fully aligned with a lot of people on that side of the aisle, but he was a good man.
No question.
Very down to earth and very accessible.
And like I said earlier, I believed him. That's something.
Oh, he was genuine.
He was sincere.
Yeah.
He was.
Guy rode the subway to work. Literally rode the subway every day to work. Did not have any state police protecting him. You could literally knock on his door and he would answer. Here we go.
Hey, Scott, I want to once again thank you for taking the time out to join us here.
Thank you for having me
on the podcast. And like I said, I'd love to have you sitting next to us, and something. I think it would be a blast. And Louis even got a splurge to take you out to lunch.
Oh my God!
Oh, let me tell you, it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
I look forward to that. That's for sure.
And to all our listeners out there, Memorial Day weekend is very, very special. Think about your loved ones, and for those who made the supreme sacrifice. And we're going to be back next week. So I hope you join us next Friday at 11:04, and we'll be right here. Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend. Thanks, Scott.